Okay, let's jump right into a question that absolutely blew my mind when I first started looking into it. We spend, just a ton of time analyzing animal behavior, trying to figure out what they're doing. But how often do we flip the script? How often do we actually stop and ask how animals perceive us? In this explainer, we're going to break down the actual science of perception and get inside the minds of the creatures we share this planet with.
Seriously, have you ever locked eyes with an animal and just thought, what on earth do you think I am? And I don't mean, do you like me or are you hungry? I mean fundamentally. How do they categorize you? Like, are you just a bizarre, featherless giant? Some sort of mobile food dispenser? A really strange, incredibly clumsy roommate? It's a question that completely flips our understanding of the natural world totally upside down. And honestly, the answer just completely shatters this grand illusion we have about ourselves. We walk around all day thinking we're these incredibly complex beings, right? We've got names, careers, smartphones, messy social lives. But the animal kingdom, yeah, they literally could not care less about any of that. They judge us entirely on raw, unfiltered sensory input. They're processing how you smell, the sounds you make, the weird way you move, and your daily routine. So the real question we need to ask isn't if animals understand us, but rather, based on those raw metrics, what kind of creature do they actually think we are?
Section 1. The Pet Perspective. How our closest companions see us.
Let's start with our inner circle, because the contrast here is just brilliant. Take dogs. They might actually understand us better than any other animal on the planet. They read our faces, they sense our moods, but a dog doesn't think you're just a weird-looking dog. They know you smell and act completely differently. They basically see you as a strange, upright pack member. You're their emotional anchor, which, by the way, is exactly why coming home isn't just a casual thing for them. It's a joyous pack reunion. You just happen to be a pack member with a terrible nose and, lucky for them, unlimited access to snacks. Now flip that over to cats. Cats know you're bigger, way louder, and, let's be honest, much less graceful. Researchers actually think cats view us as these big, clumsy social partners. Get this. Adult cats rarely meow at each other. They've essentially invented a custom meow language almost exclusively to talk to us. So yeah, they pretty much treat us like highly trainable giants. Section 2. Observers and prey. Reading our body language. Moving outside the house, consider the utter, everyday confusion of a horse. Horses are prey animals, right? Their entire survival depends on instantly reading body language, muscle tension, even breathing. So imagine looking at a human through their eyes. We have forward-facing eyes, exactly like a wolf or a mountain lion. We walk right up to them directly, like hunters do. Physically, we are built exactly like a small predator. And yet, instead of attacking, we show up bringing oats, a good brushing, and companionship. It's a total paradox for them. Over time, they literally have to override their deepest survival instincts to accept us as safe, albeit very, very weird, herd leaders. And then we have the birds. Specifically, incredibly smart ones, like crows, ravens, and parrots. These guys solve complex puzzles, they recognize individual human faces, and yes, they will absolutely hold a lifelong grudge against you if you cross them. To a crow, we are definitely not just background noise. We are these giant, wingless creatures with bizarre voices and incredibly powerful hands. Think about it from their perspective. We mysteriously control the doors, the lights, the entire food supply. Because we hold that much power over their environment, they categorize us as immensely important. Sometimes they see us as honorary flock members, and other times as very specific, highly recognizable threats.
Section 3. The Opportunists and Aliens. The Untamed and Underwater Worlds.
So, stepping out into the actual wild really puts human civilization into perspective. If you cross paths with a wild deer, you don't have a personality. To them, you're a threat level calculated entirely by your physical shape and exactly how many feet away you are. That's it. But in the city, city animals have us completely figured out. To a pigeon or a park squirrel, we're essentially just moving trees that occasionally drop delicious snacks. And raccoons? It's highly likely they view us as the magical guardians of endless food boxes. You know, what we call trash cans. To urban wildlife, our entire hyper-complex modern society probably just looks like a massively efficient system built exclusively to produce leftovers.
Let's shift gears and dive into the ocean, because the perspective gets even wilder. Take dolphins. They are famously curious about us, but honestly, they must think we are ridiculous. To a dolphin, we are these remarkably clumsy, incredibly slow-moving oddities. We have to strap on all this heavy, awkward equipment just to survive down there, we blow incredibly noisy bubbles, and we have zero grace in the water. We are absolutely fascinating to them, sure,
but fundamentally, we're just really awkward visitors. Whales, on the other hand, are operating on a completely different scale. To a massive blue whale, a human is roughly the equivalent of a tiny bird fluttering next to a skyscraper. They probably don't spend a lot of time pondering our existence. But here's the beautiful part. They have the spatial awareness to sense exactly how incredibly vulnerable we are in their domain. That's why these absolute titans of the ocean can be so surprisingly gentle around divers. They sense our tiny size and our fragility. And then there is the octopus. This is an animal with an incredibly intelligent, frankly almost alien mind. They've got arms that basically think for themselves and skin that perfectly mimics the ocean floor. To an octopus living in a tank, we are just these large, very predictable entities hovering outside the glass. But astoundingly, they can actually recognize our individual human faces. They will behave completely differently depending on which keeper is standing there. So even if they can't quite grasp what we are, they absolutely know that we matter.
Section 4. The language of behavior, the pattern of humanity. So bringing this all together, if animals don't understand our careers or our names, how do they make sense of us day to day? They do it through pure cause and effect. Look, animals are not sitting around philosophizing, stroking their chins, asking, what does it mean to be human? No, they are master observers. They hear your keys jingling and boom, they know the human is leaving. They hear the distinct crack of a tin can opening and they know food is about to magically appear. They are constantly mapping out our actions to predict the rhythm of their own world. And this is a universal truth across the entire animal kingdom. Crows learn exactly which human faces are dangerous and will literally warn their friends about you. Squirrels figure out exactly which human sitting on a park bench is the easy mark for breadcrumbs. At the end of the day, the only question animals are asking about us is, what does this creature usually do? Every single moment, every little habit, every sudden movement you make teaches them something. To the animal world, you are defined entirely and exclusively by what you consistently do. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a genuinely humbling thought. We strut around acting like we are the undisputed main characters of planet Earth. But the animals around us, they're just trying to survive and they are watching us way more closely than we could ever realize. We are constantly communicating with them, not with our words, but with our actions. So if behavior is the absolutely only language that truly matters to the natural world, what kind of creature are you telling the animal kingdom that you are? Something to think about the next time you step outside.